Good morning from Kyoto. It's so early. We don't have a ton of time here, so the first thing we're actually gonna do is leave and go to Uji. The reason we're in Kyoto right now is actually just to show our friends around the city, so a fair warning that this will be a more tourist-heavy video, and I'll share more thoughts on that later on, but for now. Uji, if you don't know, is considered by many to be the matcha and green tea capital of Japan, and arguably of the world, really. It's where the tea growing practices that gave us matcha were invented after the Camellia sinensis tea plant was brought over from China back in the 12th century by Japanese Zen Buddhist monks. And Uji is still known for producing some of the highest quality tea in Japan. So obviously, if you want to buy tea, you're going to want to do it here. Uji is also, I think, my favorite place in Japan that I've visited so far. Ben and I stayed in Kyoto for about a month back when we were first visiting Japan, and we came back to Uji 3 or 4 times. This is where a lot of the shops are, but my recommendation is actually to cross the river. That's where you'll find the Chazuna Community Center and Tea Museum.
These, it's all tea.
Oh, wow.
These are all tea bushes here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We've made it to my favorite part of Uji. This is the Tea Museum, where I actually booked an experience this time instead of winging it. So we're gonna go tea picking. We've done other workshops here before, like making our own tea tins and doing a sommelier tea tasting course. There's also a museum section that walks you through the history of tea making practices, how it came to Japan, and how to make all the different types of tea.
Bacon egg taiyaki.
Ooh,
Sounds delicious.
that does.
Ishinyo means one stem and 2 leaves. Ishinyo is the top of the tree. You can eat Ishinyo.
This is awesome.
You like it?
I do like it.
If you'll allow me to nerd out for a minute, most true teas come from this same plant. The way you get all the different variants of tea is actually through how the leaves are grown, processed, oxidized, rolled, and dried after harvest.
This is old leaf. And this is young leaf. Okay?
It tastes a little sour, like bitter.
For instance, black tea leaves go through an oxidation process and are fermented after they're picked, whereas green teas do not. The leaves we're picking here today will probably be turned into a sencha green tea because the leaves have been grown in full sunlight. In order to get matcha or gyokuro green tea, the leaves would have to be grown in the shade under an awning like this. Matcha leaves, if you want to get even deeper into it, are typically made of only these little baby leaves near the top, which is one reason why matcha is typically more expensive than other teas. There's so much more to it, but I find it fascinating all the different factors that go into making particular teas that we often don't think about necessarily. That was really cool. They gave us a recipe so we can roast the matcha, our own green tea at home, and have hand-picked Uji tea. Alright, let's go get a duck burger.
Ducky bird.
Ducky burg! Duck burgers. Oh, yeah.
These are random find by us.
Oh, that cheese ball.
The onion looks so good.
Incredible. Absolutely.
I thought it was okay.
Oh, really? This place is like worth coming to Uji for, in my opinion.
Very good.
It is really tasty. Made it back to the Airbnb. I'm so tired, but I think we'll head out again soon. I want to try to make the most out of being here. This is my first time seeing the Imperial Gardens here, and I was blown away. I feel like we got super lucky because it was practically empty. It was so peaceful and quiet, but I guess I shouldn't be all that surprised because I forget amidst all the crazy tourism in Kyoto, this place is actually mostly just used as a public park by the locals. It's such a nice place to just go for a walk or a run or relax under the trees.
Alright, it's getting dark here, so we're gonna walk down to Nishiki Market before capping off the night.
Appetizers with a skewer.
That's so good. I'm so excited. I have a whole trek down the mountain planned.
As I've probably alluded to in the title, this is where things started to fall apart for me. The plan was to start at Otagi Nenbutsuji Temple and work our way down, stopping at a bunch of little spots along the way. And from my memory, this was an obscure, out-of-the-way, tranquil little temple, but boy was I wrong. Maybe it was the season, maybe it was social media working overtime in the last year and a half, but this was no longer the tranquil getaway I remembered. My first mistake was failing to realize exactly how close to the Arashiyama bamboo forest it was, so off the bat it felt like we were trying to get a bus at Disneyland. And I'm just gonna preface it now that I did not get much footage of the hordes of tourists because, quite frankly, I find it to be ugly. But upon reflection, I do feel like this is an important part of the Kyoto experience that should be discussed. So please enjoy some more pretty temple footage that strategically crops out as much evidence of human life as possible, while I have a minor crash out over the state of tourism in Japan. And part of why this bothers me so much is because the hypocrisy is not lost on me. I am hyper aware that I am part of the problem here. So while I'm not exactly thrilled to be potentially opening the floodgates to scrutiny on the internet, let me explain my dilemma, and maybe we can figure out the proper way to go about tourism in Japan in the comments. So at this point, I am largely over going to overpopulated places in Japan. I live in Tokyo, and I avoid places like Harajuku and Shibuya like the plague. I'm personally much more interested in how Japanese culture functions on a day-to-day basis, and I would vastly prefer to go to places on the outskirts or the countryside. The problem I'm running into, though, is that it's easier to justify taking these sorts of trips when I'm by myself, as opposed to when we have people visiting us who have never seen Japan before, like on this trip now. Anyone visiting Japan for the first time is already going to have it in their head that they want to go to Kyoto, Tokyo, and maybe Osaka. And it's very hard to deter them from this itinerary to go to some random town that I can't even vouch for yet. And I'm not even sure if trying to deter someone from going to Kyoto, for example, is even the right thing to do, because it is such a beautiful city with so much culture and history to learn from. But this tourist situation is crazy.
Right, so much for avoiding tourist spots. That place was way busier than it was last time.
I did
But-
not enjoy.
Still very cool, but I don't know. Might be too busy now to be enjoyable. We'll see.
I have one potential fix that could be a win-win-win for you, me, and on a very small scale, maybe even the Japanese economy. So through this trip, Van and I have figured out exactly how easy it is to fly domestically here in Japan, and how affordable it can be when you're not too picky about dates, times, and locations. So while I'm back in the States this summer, he's going to try to test out this roulette method of travel. And my thought process is this. We would have a better time going to new and exciting places without breaking the bank. You would get to see more interesting parts of Japan that haven't been done to death on this platform. And Japan, which, if I'm not mistaken, has been suffering from over-tourism in the major cities, and actually under-tourism in many other parts, could get some visitor money start to flow through the less populated areas, even if it is just on an individual level. But if you're planning on visiting Kyoto, my honest recommendation, if you'd like to see temples and shrines, is not to do what we did, but literally try just wandering around whatever neighborhood you're in, because there are so many little places of worship tucked into random side streets and alleyways all around Kyoto, and most of Japan from what I've gathered.
We're just wandering on our way. Look at this.
This is the best I can come up with right now because honestly, I don't know if it's worth seeing the sights in Kyoto anymore. A lot of these places are religious and holy sites that I imagine once had a truly magical energy to them, but now seem to have been reduced to just a tourist attraction. And I hope this isn't offensive, this was just my honest experience. But feeling a bit defeated by the day, we cut our losses and got some comfort kura before heading back for a traditional salaryman dinner. We got lucky with our Airbnb here because we're about a 10-minute walk from the Fushimi Inari shrine, and we are here bright and early this time. Van and I are revisiting a lot of spots because we're here with guests, but just to do a little compare and contrast, last time we were here, it was the middle of the day and it was so packed you literally could not move through the gates. We ended up just leaving, it was so unenjoyable. This time, we got here around 6, 7 a.m. and it's lovely, but it begs the question of why you have to get to these sites at the crack of dawn for them to be enjoyable. I am still relatively new to this country and I want to see and understand all of these places of importance, but I just can't shake this icky feeling that this is not the way they were intended to be experienced. Is the solution just not to go? I truly don't know. What I do know is that this vlog really has taken a turn, so thanks for sticking through my little existential crisis, and if you're visiting Japan, let this be your sign to branch out a bit. Japan is such a beautiful country, and from now on, I'll also be practicing what I preach. So stay tuned for hopefully some more obscure places that need a little love, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!